Okay.
Start the class, madam.
So, good morning, students. In a previous class, we discussed about the theories of consumer behavior, and we are continuing the same topic here. Yesterday, we discussed about the law of diminishing marginal utility, where the diminishing marginal utility it has been given by H.H. Rosen, but it is popularized by Alfred Marshall. So, according to him, he based his theory to prove his theory. He given some assumptions here. Those assumptions, whatever he has been given, he believed, and the most crucial assumptions are the first one is that the marginality of money is not constant. Why? Because here the mostly the marginality of money it doesn't remain constant. It is a variant one. According to this law, according to Alfred Marshall, his definition is as if a person goes on consuming more and more units of commodity, the additional utility he derives from the additional unit will declines. It will diminishes. That's why we call this law as a diminishing marginal utility. Marginal means additional utility by obtaining the additional unit of commodity. So the continuous consumption will diminish our utility, what that is explained by him by giving some assumptions. But all those assumptions are not real, may not work in an actual life here. Why? Because here marginal utility of money, the rational consumer, okay, somewhat the consumer will be the rational, always he looks for his maximum satisfaction levels. And the mostly the goods are, according to him, they are not independent. This law will not work here. Why? Because complementary goods are also there, where the goods, the consumption of one good depends on the other good. In order to prepare coffee or tea, we need both milk and the coffee powder or tea powder. Means they are the, and if you want to write on the paper, we need pen, paper and pen. They are complementary goods. Car, petrol, diesel. These are the complementary. Means by you, for the consumption of car, we need the petrol. The depends on the other goods utility also. So it is not realistic. And marginal utility of money here, according to him here, the goods can be measured in terms of the money. Means here to measure the marginal utility in a cardinal numbers in terms of money here, mu of money must remain invariant, isn't it? It should not, invariant means it not constant. But it is not constant here. Mu of money diminishes when stock of money rises. And the next is the homogeneous. It will not, this law will not work if they are not homogeneous. If goods are not homogeneous means this law will not work. Here he explained only a single good. Single good we have to use continuously without taking the other type of good. And another one is it should not be too big and too small. If it is too big or too small, again the problem arises here. The utility of these subsequent units may increase if they are small. If they are big means it may decrease. So that's why here the uniform size is here it is an assumption here. If you want to prove means uniform size must be maintained. If it are too big or too small here, problem arises. This law cannot be proved. And also this law cannot be working for the durable goods also. Durable goods means here it is not possible to calculate the utility because their use is spread over the time period of time here, years and years together we use the durable goods. Isn't it? Durable goods means once we consume, one purchase means years together we'll use those things. The freezers, TV, furniture in our houses here, we will use them continuously. So for these durable things also this law may not be works here. Means the consumer does not buy more durable goods for personal consumption. And the next year if there is a change, this law does not work if there is change in consumers' income, taste, and habits. The constant here the assumption is the constant income, taste, and habit. If the taste, preferences, and income changes means this law will not work. This is another limitation here. In the case of the diamonds, the goods which are not ordinary here. The habits like the stamp collection. Some goods are taken as a prestigious goods. If you have more and more, they feel that as a prestigious one. Here the utility will not diminishes. And in case of the stamps and coins, also utility of these additional unit may greater than the earlier units. Why? Because the collection here, it is a habit. So Here, these are some of the limitations which may not work here to prove this theory. And the next one is the importance of law. Importance of law here, the diminishing marginal utility. The DMU means diminishing marginal utility. It is basic for the consumption and for the law of demand, for the law of marginal utility. Here, using the diminishing marginal utility here, we can go for the law of demand. Why? Because according to the demand depends on the price. When price falls, demand will increases. Increases means we'll go on, we wish to buy more goods. Acquiring more goods here, it may diminish the utility. So here we can stop. At what level we have to stop our demand, it will be decided with this diminishing marginal utility. And the equimarginal utility also, it is in the DMU theory, it is also basis for the equimarginal utility. Here, equimarginal utility means here acquiring with the limited income, how the consumer will satisfy in different types of goods here. It will be decided how the marginalities of different goods can be equalized according to this law. So it will be explained. So, and the next one here, but for the change in the designs or the pattern or packing of the goods in the producers here, they will make changes. They will make changes. Why? Because the same good, the same type of good with the same packing design here, they may bore the consumers here. So in order to attract the consumers without diminishing their utilities, in order to increase their utilities and to increase their demand for their good here, they will change their pattern. They will change the pattern, means they want to attract by the goods here. They don't want to bore the consumers with the same type of goods, with the small differences here. If you take it all in last years, the soaps or the shampoos or any other goods here, they are in one pattern, and now they are in different flavors and different aromas and different type of qualities. They are coming, the same name, they are coming into the market. Why? Because the consumers, they are very rational human beings. They want to maximize their satisfaction, and they always they will look for their maximum satisfaction only. That's why here the new goods, they will attract them. The new type, the same good which possesses the modernality, which is been entered into the market in a new way. The same good. That's why here they will change the designs, pattern or packing of goods. The producers, according to the diminishing, if their demand is falling, means they will change their designs in order to increase their demand. And this law also explains about the theory of value here. Theory of value means here the diamond and water paradox. Diamond and water paradox, and here what is means here diamonds, they are very, very high exchange value is there, but here the less usage means here the value, less use of value is there. But here similarly water, it is really abundant when compared to the diamond, they are scarce and they're having the higher exchange value with less value, less use value. Every general person, the common man, they won't use the diamonds here. But what happens to the water here? Water, it is abundant here, where it is having the low exchange and the use is more. Means here more use value. Diamonds, it will have the less use value. So here this law, the diamond and water paradox is also explained by this law here. And according to the theory of value here, when the price of the good falls, what happens? The supply will increases. With the increase in the stock of the good, what happens? Again, the marginal utility will diminishes. Means here it explains the theories of value, and it explains the diamond and water paradox, where the diamonds are more expensive and the value of exchange is more, where the use value is less. But the water is abundant and it is the low exchange value, but more use. So this paradox can be explained by the diminishing marginal utility. And the next, this law also helps in formulating the taxation policies. Taxation policies means here the principle of this progressive taxation. When the income increases, the tax we have to pay the more taxes here. The progressive taxes means it increases, the tax increases as per the income here. So here it is based on this diminishing marginal utility only. It is more useful to in the policies of the redistribution of income and wealth, which are in favor of the poor people. Means the low income group people can pay the lowest taxes, and high income group people will pay the high taxes here. So that's why here, when according to the law of diminishing marginal utilities here, they can decide the taxation policies. So it is useful to the government while formulating the taxation. So students, this is all about the DMU here, diminishing marginal utility. Diminishing marginal utility, it is popularized by Alfred Marshall, where diminishing marginal utility means when the additional unit has been acquired here, the additional utility will declines. Marginal utility declines, that which is explained by the Alfred Marshall, which is based on cardinal utility approach. Okay. Now they will go for the next approach, the ordinal approach. Ordinal utility analysis approach here. Mostly it was been the cardinal utility. By using the cardinal utility, Marshall explained that by taking a single good, he explained the diminishing marginal utility. But here, they're taking the two good model here, Hicks and Allen. They explained this indifference curve analysis. In this indifference curve analysis, mostly the modern economists, they developed the analysis called as the indifference curve analysis. So this is also known as the ordinal utility analysis of a consumer behavior here. And by using the indifference curves here, we analyze the consumer's behavior, how consumer behaves between these two goods, how he will satisfy here. And mostly this is used by these ordinal utility analysis. It is used by Francis Y. Edgeworth in 1881, Irving Fisher in 1892, and Pareto, Slutsky. All these economists, they use this law. In 1939, J.R. Hicks, he developed this law here, ordinal utility theory here. So according to this year, before the 1930s here, this technique was not given importance. But after 1939, J.R. Hicks, he developed this ordinal utility theory as a powerful analytical tool for the consumer analysis. So here, according to this law here, according to indifference curves means what? How it shows the consumer's scale of preferences. How we can draw the indifference curve, an indifference which represents the satisfaction of a consumer from consumption of commodities, means the consumption of the combination of commodities here. If we are taking the two goods here, at the possible combinations, at what combinations the consumer will be satisfied is explained by this indifference curve analysis. Means at all possible combinations of two commodities here on an indifference curve, the total satisfaction will remain same according to this law. So here it is defined, the indifference curve, it is defined as a locus point of the each representing locus point means whatever the points, the combination of the two commodities which we are using here, that will be explained here and defined as the locus points, each representing the different combinations of two goods, which yields same utility. The two combinations of the two goods will yield the same utility on the indifference curve. That is what explained in this indifference curve. This is based on some assumptions. Here also, to prove this indifference curve analysis, they based on these assumptions here. Mostly, this is an ordinal analysis here. Ordinal means, in previous class I explained you, ordinal means it is only possible to compare the satisfaction levels. We can compare, but compare the utilities, but not, we cannot measure the utilities in a numerical number. Here, in one of the, we cannot say from the particular good I got 10 or 5 units of satisfaction or utility here, but we can compare. Is the first good is better than the second one, or second one is better than the third one. We can compare the utilities. We can give by giving the scale of preferences here, by giving the ranking 1, 2, 3, the first, second, third, and fourth. We can say second is better than the first one, or first one is better than the second one. So this transitivity can be seen in this theory. So the first one here is, as usual, here the consumer is a rational one. So as to he want to maximize his the satisfaction at every particular use of a unit. Each and every unit, whatever he consumes here, he want to maximize his satisfaction. So, and the next here, it is, I told you, it is a two good model. Two good means here in diminishing marginal utility, it is single good model. Here it is two good model. X, take example X and Y. Or you take any goods or any apples here, the apples or oranges, anything. So this is a two good model here. By comparison of these two goods only, he explains indifferent curves analysis, and he knows about the prices, about the demand and supply of the good. That's why he will have the full knowledge of the market. Who? The consumer. Consumer will have the full knowledge of the market. He know about the market situation, prices, and the demand and supply of the commodities in the market. And the next year, the prices of two goods are given. Prices of two goods are given here. And the next, the consumer, the taste, habits, preferences, here also they remain constant. If they change here, we cannot prove the theory. It doesn't work. That's why the taste, consumer's preferences, habits, and his tastes, income also remains constant according to this. Here, according to this law here, the consumer, he can substitute the Y in place of X or X in place of Y. Means here, consumer prefers more of X to less of Y, or more of Y to less of X. Means he can, in order to satisfy or in order to utilize here the same utilities will be derived from these two units. He can either he may go for more X or more Y, less X or less Y. He can substitute, and because this is a two good model. And here also the goods are divisible. Goods are divisible here. He can by when he is using the commodities, he can divide and he can use here. They are divisible. If they are larger units here, they are divisible. And the consumer will arrange the two goods in a scale of preference. Means here the consumer has the both preferences, and he is indifference for these goods here. He wants these both goods. If the both goods satisfy his wants here, the utility will be possessed by these two goods. So he is indifferent, not a different here, indifferent. Means here he is indifferent for the goods here, because they from this according to the two goods in the scale of preferences here, the consumers he have the both preferences and he is an indifference for the goods. Next here, the both preference and indifference are transitive. Why the both preference and indifference are transitive means here? Transitive means what? If you take the goods, A, B, C are there. If the A, when we are using the B, then only we can know about the utility of A, isn't it? How the more utility we are possessing from the A unit or less. So by getting the B unit here, B good here, we can know about the A. And if you are using the C, we can know about the B. So if the A is giving the larger utility than B, and B is giving larger utility than C, means it is transitive that A is more giving larger utility than C. That is the transitiveness. Means A is giving larger utility here, and the B is giving larger than than the C here. Means alternatively here what happened? The A is more than the C here. That is the transitivity. That transitivity is explained in this indifference theory. So it both preference and indifference are transitive here. So here by assuming these assumptions here, we'll go to the indifference curve concept. I told you that this indifference, according to indifference curve analysis at all possible points, means here the two combinations of two commodities, X and Y. These are the two goods. The combination of the X good and Y good on an indifference curve are shown here. Their total satisfaction of these two commodities will remain same. So here the indifference curve, we can define that as a locus points of the each, which represents a different combination of the two goods yielding the same utility or the level of satisfaction here. That's why the consumer, he is an indifferent. His preferences are there. He is indifferent between the two combinations of goods here. So when it comes to the make a choice between them, he will substitute the one good to the another good here, which gives the equal satisfaction or the equal utilities. So he is indifferent between two combinations of good when he want to make a choice. And next, choice means here, if you want more Y means here, he'll take the less S. If you want more X means he will take the less X or less Y. Means between the two goods. If you, for example, apples and oranges are there. we like more apples than oranges. We may go for all apples. Or we need only one orange, and we'll go for another with our limited income. Why? Because income is constant here. This is an assumption. So with our limited income, we may get the apples, or we can't get both all apples and all oranges, or all X goods and all Y goods. We have to substitute some of the X goods for Y, or Y goods to X. So that's why these two combinations here he will it depends on his choice, and he will be remain indifferent between these two combinations. This is what explained in here, and that's why here the same satisfaction, the same utility or level of satisfactions are given by these two goods, the combination of two goods. That's why it is called as an iso utility curve, or we can say iso utility curve or equal utility curve. Why? Because here the two combinations of goods, here he is indifferent, consumer is indifferent between the two combinations of good, and he is making the choice between them, which gives the same utility. The same utility is deriving from two combinations. That's why we call this as iso utility curve or equal utility curve. Okay, if you go for the schedule here, the indifferent schedule here, we can draw these indifference schedule here on the basis of then this is an indifference curve is drawn on the basis of indifference schedule, where the schedule of various combinations of goods, two goods, which yields the same level of satisfaction. Here in the here we given some combinations here. In the combination one, as I told you, thus that the commodity X and Y, if you take the apples as apples and mangoes, for example, X and Y are there. Here, this we can know about these. The first combination gives us the total 15 apples we can get with a limited income here, and 15 apples and 1 mango. Whereas in the second combination, we can get 11 apples for 2 mangoes. 2 mangoes. So these 2 mangoes means here what happening here? What happening here? For the 15 we are getting one mango. For 11 apples we can get the 2 mangoes. Means here for foregoing the 4 apples here we'll get the 1 more mango, isn't it? We are substituting here the apples in place of mangoes in place of apples. Means to get the 3 mangoes here we have to forego the 3 apples. Means we'll get the 8 with limited income, we'll get the 8 apples and 3 mangoes. In the fourth combination, 6 apples and 4 mangoes. In the fifth combinations, the 5 apples and 5 mangoes. So this can be represented in the schedule. Now here the curve here which shows how the X and Y have been substituted here. So in this curve, we can see the series here by getting the apples here. How we are going on, the indifference curve diagram shows the the satisfactions of the different commodities. On here OX axis will take the X good, or you will take the mangoes, and here on the next one you will take the apples. So here for more and more apples, how we have been substituting the apples for the mangoes, it has been shown. Or you take the X and Y. OX axis will take the X good and OY will take the Y goods here. The Y good here, how we are substituting the each and for the Y good, we are substituting to the X here. For the first combination here, the first one is at the 14, it is 1. And the next combination, the second X, we are getting the 10. And for the third one, we are getting 8. And for the fourth one, we are getting 6. Means likewise here. For substituting, we are going on substituting the X good for Y. To get the more Y here, we are substituting the X. Means, okay, we have these all possible locus points on this indifference curve. They will give the equal satisfaction to the consumer. So that's why we called this as an iso utility curve or equi-utility curve. Means the first combinations here, the first combination will give the same satisfaction. The second combination, the locus point, the point will, it also, the second combination gives the same satisfaction. At 12 of Y, he will get the 2 of X. At the 8 of Y, he will get the 3 of X. and at the 6 of y, he will get the 4 of x. Means here he is substituting. If you want more x, he will lose more y. If you want the more y, means he can substitute the more x. Means here the two goods, how he can define, how he can derive the equal satisfaction at the different combinations here. All combinations give the equal satisfaction. Students, here one thing here, the all combination give the equal satisfaction, but his choice making, his preferences, his scale of preferences will decide here. So that's why here the indifference curve gives the shows the equal satisfaction at each and every locus point. That's why it's called as an iso-utility curve here. So the indifference curve here, the utility at all points in the curve is the same. The consumer will be indifferent regarding all these combinations. And the next here we have the map. Map means what? Here the set of indifference curves is called as an indifference map here. We can draw this indifference curve showing the combinations of goods x and good y here. Means here which shows the greater or lesser satisfactions. Here set of all the indifference, I show you the indifference curve, which have been a single indifference curve, which shown the equal, each and every combination, they will get the two combinations of good here, he will get the equal satisfaction. Likewise here more, the set, all this set of these indifference curves are shown in this map. Map means the set of indifference curves. So in this here, map, it is the locus of the various indifference curves. Various indifference curves which are representing at the various levels of combinations here, and the levels of satisfaction to the consumer are shown in this map here. It shows that IC1, IC2, IC3, indifference curve 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Means here indifference curve, the first curve gives the lower satisfaction than the second curve. Means the second one is more than the first curve, IC1. IC2 is more than IC1, IC3 is more than IC2, IC4 is more than IC3, or the indifference curve of as it has been moving upwards, it gives the more maximum satisfaction levels. So here in this map here, there are various indifference curves. They represent various levels of satisfaction to the consumer here. So here all points on IC3, IC2, they are preferred to all the points on this IC1. But here in the IC1 represent the lower level of satisfaction when compared with the IC2 or IC3. So as it moves to the upward curve shows the maximum satisfaction than the lower curve. This is the indifference map, which is the set of the indifference curves. Okay. And the next one, basing on this one, here we can explain the marginal rate of substitution. Marginal rate of substitution means just I told you about the substituting, how we are substituting the mangoes, apples to the mangoes here. In the previous last the few minutes before, I told you about the indifference curve schedule. Indifference schedule we saw about the apples and mangoes, how we have been foregone the apples to get more apples. Here we can see this combination, how they substitution, how we are substituting the apples to mangoes here. So here in this concept here, it is very, very important one. This marginal rate of substitution is important to the indifference curve analysis here. It shows how much of one commodity is substituted for another. Means here, for in example, I given the apples and mangoes here. You may take X or Y or any other goods also. So the previous example of this indifference schedule here, we can notice how the 15 units of the good apples have been substituted to 1 unit of X here. Means he is willing to forego 4Y for 1 mango, 4 apples for 1 mango. Means here first combination he has 15 apples and 1 mango. There is no substitution. For the second combination, he have to substitute. Here, he will substitute here, he will forego the 4 apples for additional 1 mango. To get the second mango here, he will forego the 4. Means here, it is 4:1. In the third combination here, the 8 apples and 3 mangoes. Means what is the substitution here? How it is a 3:1. Means here he is foregoing the 3 apples for the additional unit of mango. So it is 3 is to 1. Means it here substitution is the 3. He substituted to get more mangoes. He is going on substituting the apples to get more mangoes here. Why? Because he want more mangoes. Means here it is his preference. Is a scale of preference here. He can choose. He can according to his choice here he can make his preferences, and the combinations will give equal satisfactions. That's why he is indifferent between these 2 combinations. And in the 4th combinations here, the 6 and 4, 6 apples and 4 mangoes. Means here he is foregoing 2 apples for 1 more mango. That is the 2 is to 1. And the 5th one here, the 5th combination is the same. 5 apples and 5 mangoes. Means here it is the substitution rate is 1 is to 1. For the second combination here, it is 4 is to 1 substitution rate. And the second one here is it is 3 is to 1. 3 apples given up, and for the 1 more unit of mango. And for the 4th combination here, the 2, he given up the 2 apples to get 1 more mango. And the 5th one for here 1 is to 1. What happened? The marginal rate of substitution, it is also declining. 4 is to 1, 3 is to 1, 2 is to 1, and 1 is to 1. So here the marginal rate of substitution here, he will goes on substituting the x to the y or the mango apples for the mangoes here. It can be represented by the MRS by the formula. The MRS is xy is equals to delta xy by delta x. It can be shown on the curve here. Means here we can show the according to the how he is moving on the indifference curve, how he has been foregoing. We can explain by the curve also here. A, B, C, D, E are the locus points. We are the different combinations of the X and Y. It shows in this graph here, that is an example of biscuits and teacups, but if you can take as an X and Y, or the apples and mangoes here. Means here, if we have more and more of X, our desire to have more good of X will diminish, and we will forego less and less of good Y for good X. So it can be represented by the formula of MR xy is equals to delta y by delta x. We can see that the consumer slides down the delta y becomes shorter and shorter, while delta x is the same here. So here the points between the A and B here, A and B here, it is it shows how far the x1 it is the foregone y to the x, the x1. And B1 is for the second combination between the B and C here, the foregone unit is the X2 here. It is the difference here. So how the substituted, the X to the Y has been shown by these X1, X2 and X3, X4, X5 on these different combinations here. So here the IC curve here, we can see the change of the Y, the delta Y by delta X means MRS, marginal rate of substitution of XY is equals to delta X by delta Y here. So we are having the sum of the properties. This here, before I show this substitution means here, how the substitution rate is there in between the two combinations, how he is substituting the X to the Y or Y to the X here, what is the substitution rate, it is all here explained in this, the schedule, marginal rate of substitution table and the curve here. So here, the next we go for the properties of indifference curves. Indifference curves here, we can see in the map, you saw that the curve, it is sloped from left to right downwards, isn't it? The indifference curve means left to right downwards means the slope is negative. As the one element has been increasing means the another element decreases. If one decreases means one element is falling means one increases. If you take the OY axis here, on OY axis, if the OY is declining means OX will increases here. The X unit will increases. Means it negative slopes. It shows a negative slope here. The substitution has been can be shown here, and the changes can be noticed in this curve when it is negatively sloped. So it is a negative sloped curve. And indifference curves are always convex to the origin. They are not concave to the origin. They are convex to the origin. It is another property here. Here the amount, here the indifference curve, the negative slopes and convexity here, it explains the how the amount of other good is reducing and to the how we are substituting here. Means here when the amount of one good is increased, another good will decreases. The level of satisfaction will remains the same on an indifference curve here. That's why here it is neither positively slopes towards upward horizontal or vertical. It is negatively sloped. And it is convexity means here it shows the diminishing marginality of substitution. Just I showed you on the substitution curve how the changes of x and y. Due to this convexity only we can explain this, the changes, the substitution, diminishing marginal rate of substitution can be shown. So it cannot be concave to the origin. It is convex to the origin. And the next one is they never intersect. They differ indifference curves can never, always they are parallel to each other, but they won't intersect each other. Why? Because here it implies that the indifference curve indicates the two different levels of satisfaction. It is so it is not a proper one. That's why here it intersect. It doesn't two curves if they intersect here. It implies the indications of the two levels, two different levels. Same level we are explaining on the indifference curve, but the different level of satisfaction will be shown if they intersect. That's why it doesn't intersect here. They never intersect. It implies if they intersect, it implies another issue, another concept here. That's why it is curves, they are parallel to each other. And the higher indifference curve represents a higher level of satisfaction than the lower indifference curve. In the map here, I shown you that the indifference curve, the IC1 will be lowest one than the IC2, IC3. IC3 is more than IC2 or IC4. In the map, you can see that. Means here, the higher one, the higher level of satisfaction can be shown in the high indifference curve here. So that is represented. That is another one. Always the higher indifference curve represents a higher level of satisfaction than a lower indifference curve. So indifference means here the two combinations here remains the same without differences here. All two combinations give equal satisfaction, but he have to choose those combinations here. That is our problem. That's why here the indifference curves here, the IC1 curve, IC2, IC3 will be are represented in the map here. In the map you can see IC2 gives more satisfaction, the higher satisfaction than IC1, or IC3 gives more satisfaction than IC2. So likewise here, the higher level of satisfaction than the lower indifference curve can be seen. These all are the properties of the indifference curve. And the next concepts we go for the price line and budget line here. Price line and budget line means here a rational consumer will always try to get here the more satisfaction here, the highest possible indifference curve in order to obtain the highest level of the satisfactions here. Means here the higher difference curve shows the higher level of satisfaction than the lower one. Means here the consumer he attempts the maximize his satisfaction. He will try to reach the highest possible indifference curve here, but this particular combinations of goods depends on two factors. They depends on the two factors, that is the money income of the consumer and the price of two goods. So that's why here in this pursuit we can say our consumer will governed by the amount of the money or income he has to spend on goods here. So here whatever we explained in the indifference curve about the combinations here, in order to get those two combinations of the goods here, he want to spend the money and he have to purchase by giving the price here. So here in this concept we'll go for the two factors which have explains where the IC curve depends on the income and the prices. The concept of this price here, combination of two goods of the means here, the money income of the consumer and prices of two goods here. Concept of price line or budget line here can be clearly, we can understand by this example given here. So if the consumer is having the income of 100 rupees, suppose if you for the example here, to buy the two goods of X and Y. Given income is 100. It is fixed. It is constant. In assumptions already we discussed that the assumption is the constant income, taste, preferences remain same. So income is 100 rupees only. You have to spend that 100 rupees among this X and Y. Prices of X is 20 rupees and Y is 10 rupees. Where budget must be equal to the income is equals to PX into X. Price of X into X commodity. Price of Y into Y commodity. Here income must equals to this PX into X plus PY into Y. For here the income is 100. This is equals to PX into X. Price of X good into X, or X we can represent as an X is equals to I by PX, where income is 100. Income is 100, which divided with the 20 here, the price. Means the price is 20. Then we'll get the 5 units here with our income. He can buy the total 5 X units with the total 100 rupees. Either he can get. If he go for the Y means, here the income is equals to PY into Y. Means here price of Y is 100, income is 100 and the price of Y is 10. Income is equal to PY into Y, or Y is equals to I by PY. So income is 100 by 100 or 10 means 10 units. With the 100 rupees you get the all 10 Ys, or with the 100 rupees he will get the 5 units of X with the 100 rupees. So the budget line shows all these combinations of two goods which the consumer can buy with the given income in the given prices. If we want to buy the X units here, if you want to buy total X units means you will get the 5 X units. If you want to buy the 4 means you can get the 2 X Y units and 4 X units. And you want to get the 3 of X means you will get the 4 of Y. Means 3 into 20 rupees is 60 rupees and 4 units of the Y means 4 into 10 is 40, 100 rupees. Or if with the 100 rupees you want the 2 of X means you will spend 40 rupees on X units and 60 rupees, 6 units of Y units means 60 rupees of Y. And if we want only, if you in another combination he can get the Y 1 X unit means 20 rupees he will spend on X unit, and here 80 rupees he spent on this Y unit. He will get the 8 units here. So only you want the total Y units means you will get from the 100 rupees, you will get total 10 units. That is what here shown in this figure. So the combination, the money income and the budget here, they are clearly understood by this table here. How the budget line, it shows the all these combination of two goods which the consumer can buy with the given income here, given income at the given prices. So here it is shown in this figure here in the good X and good Y. Here I told you that the I by PY means the income by PY. PY is price of Y. Price of Y is 10 rupees. And income is 100. 100 by price 10 is equals to 10. Here the P point, it represents he can get 10 units of Y with his given income of 100 rupees. That is the I by PY. It is represented there. And here, if you want the more total 5 units means here at the L point here, it is shown I by income by PX, price of X. Price of X is 20 rupees. Income is 100 rupees. 100 by 20, he will get the 5 units of X. Here the combinations which are shown, if he is below the K point here, it shows, the K point shows here the less income, means here within the income level means the less than the 100 rupees. Beyond the H will shows the beyond the more than 100 rupees, but here income is constant. It is not it is given income is constant here 100 rupees only. With that 100 rupees he have to go for the two combinations of X and Y. So here by getting the X of 1 unit of X, here you can get the 8 units of Y with the 100 rupees. Means 80 rupees on these Y and the 1 unit on the 10 rupees on the not 10, 20 rupees, 20 rupees of X here. So these combinations here, 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10 are the units of Y which he can get from the 100 rupees, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the units of X from where he can get we can spend 100 rupees here. That budget line here is from the PL is the budget line or the price line here. The price line of the income of the consumer, if he want to spend whole of his income on Y or whole on X, that is shown by IPY by income by PY by income by PX here. Or we can say OP by OL or PX by PL. The price of X by price of Y, that is shown here. And here means OP by OL means here I by PY by I by PX, or I by PY into PX by I, or we can say the same, the mathematical PX by PY here. So it shows here the income. If we get any point outside the given price here, the H here, if he is beyond the consumption of beyond the capacity here, K shows the underspending of the 100 rupees. So we have to spend the 100 rupees, not the beyond or the here or the underspending.
Close the session, madam.
So this is what the derived by the price line and budget line derived here. And in the next class we'll go further. We'll discuss about the consumers equilibrium by using these indifference curves, budget line and price line.
Completed, madam?
Yes.
Thank you, madam.